It's interesting that all the people building AI are also building bunkers, like Mark Zuckerberg that put a huge bunker in Hawaii.
A lot of billionaires are preoccupied with living forever.
When I was at the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, we got to go inside one of these so-called Doomsday bunkers.
We have deep underground military bases. I'm sure you're aware of that all over the world, but especially under the continental United States. We're talking 1 mile to 2 miles below the surface of the earth.
What happens inside of them still remains highly classified. When we got there, a giant metal blast door opened in the side of a mountain. And so I was taken to one of those places that was hundreds and hundreds of feet underground, down to these tunnels that take us into basically an underground city. Some of it was kind of like off of the movies where you see a room where they're monitoring a bunch of different televisions, things that are going on all over the country.
Do you have an underground tunnel?
Do you really?
Yeah. Yeah.
In USA?
Well, I have this ranch in Kauai. Yeah. Where there's this whole thing where people were like, there's this whole meme about how people are saying I built this like bunker underground. It's like more of underground storage type situation. But yeah, no, it's
Oh, wow. Zucky got that bunky. What's under the ground? Just more water, right?
It's basically what you just said. It's sort of a tunnel that just goes to another building.
Yeah.
Who have you done bunkers for?
Zuckerberg, Tate Brothers, Kardashians.
How many does Bill Gates have?
He's got 11.
He's got 11 bunkers.
You'll see how tall my bunker is. Now, normally you would think a bomb shelter is about this tall, about 7 feet tall, but look how tall mine are. This is my fat boy.
Oh, wow. Gee, it's like an apartment.
It's bigger than a New York apartment. We can put 2 of these together, 3 of these. Tate Brothers got 6 of these put together.
6?
Yeah, and as he says, he's going to have stripper poles.
Hopefully the Tate Brothers locked themselves in there and they can't find the key.
And if you're curious what it costs, it's only $400,000.
So if the Tate Brothers bought 6 of these, that's nearly $3 million. Well,
3.9. Yeah.
I hope you got a deposit.
Wealthy people are not cutting any corners. Okay, imagine this. You're building a house and you have a secret passage. It opens up and it reveals a staircase or a hatch that leads down to a private bunker. So making houses with secret passages through secret walls with secret bunkers is just a very in thing. When I started making the bunkers in 2011, people put the odds of seeing a civil war or a World War III in their lifetime at about 1%. Right now, it's over 50%. But teaching people how to make bunkers.
Really?
And then I sell the parts. So what I'm doing now is I'm teaching 1,000 people how to make bomb shelters, and I'm supplying all the parts to them.
Brilliant. I noticed that you make a lot of bomb shelters for the mega millionaires and the billionaires, but is this more of the affordable everyday man's?
This is the everyday man shelter. Here, let me show you one. It's right here. I didn't open my business to service billionaires and millionaires. I opened my business to make those culvert shelters like that one right there for people like me because I wanted one. So I started making those round culvert shelters, and then I started making these square ones because these can go underneath the house. Okay? And then I got the idea of mass producing one that everybody could afford that I eliminate the labor out of. This is my level 1 shelter. My least best design of the shelters, but it's also the least expensive. When you get into my bigger bunkers, they basically are EMP proof. They're a level 4 bunker, basically with up to 1 to 2 meters thick of concrete around them.
How were you able to test this concept and make sure that it can survive nuclear fallout?
What's protecting you from nuclear fallout is not the shelter itself, but the amount of earth between you and the surface. As long as that hole's 3 feet deep and you have enough 90-degree turns in there, you could crawl underground and survive nuclear fallout in there.
Man, you see this Mark Zuckerberg building this $270 million bunker?
If you have $1 billion, we have learned that you can do whatever you want to do. When Elon Musk wants to send things in space, he don't have to ask nobody's permission. Congress don't meet. Senate don't meet. No police department got to be warned. He don't need a permit. None of that. If you got $1 billion, you do what you want to do, and then you tell them what you did.
Man.
And that's how it goes.
What he building a $270 million bunker? What do you know that we don't know, Cat?
Kim Jong-un? What? I don't know what you don't know. Do you understand that people that are not very bright are in charge of nuclear bombs all across the country? Mm-hmm. That's what he knows. He knows that 30% of all weapons systems are running off regular Wi-Fi. So what does that mean? That means if a solar flare or a meteor hits either one of those, literally a bomb can go off just because the system accidentally got turned off. Yeah, that's what he knows. The people that are in power know that the people that are running the most complicated and deadliest things on the planet are just an average idiot. And you know lots of idiots.
I do.
Yep. And these people are not special. Back in the day they were.
Yeah.
Not today. Not today.
So how do you think these guys get into, how do they get the knowledge? Have you thought about that?
You mean the people who are in the...
Yeah, the bunker builders.
So it's, again...
they could just be worried about nuclear war.
There's a couple of things that's true. Yes, absolutely. That's certainly in play. But there's a couple of ways. I mean, one, if you're a member of the mystery schools, and I'm not saying your neighborhood Freemason, you know, just your average Joe who happens to be a member of a lodge. No, you got to be way high up into these organizations before they start to transmit this information to you. Because at the lower levels of Masonry, they're not told. This comes from, by the way, Manly P. Hall, who is one of the greatest Masonic philosophers, probably the greatest Masonic philosopher. He said that the lower levels of the Masonic order, that they give them a different meaning to the symbols, and they don't tell them the true meaning behind the rituals and the symbols, and you don't get the true meaning until you get to the higher levels. And I think that's probably true across the board in the mystery schools. But so you can learn this in the mystery schools, or I think at this point probably let's just assume for a moment, and I don't know if it's true. Okay, it's just a hypothesis. Let's assume that there is a body out there in the solar system that's coming back in, that's on this path around the sun, that gets slingshotted back out into outer space, comes back around every 6,480 years. Maybe we've detected it. Maybe NASA's detected it. Maybe some of our military satellites up there have detected this body that's coming into our solar system. And that, I think, would prompt, the building of underground bunkers. You know, we have deep underground military bases. I'm sure you're aware of that all over the world, but especially under the continental United States. We're talking 1 mile to 2 miles below the surface of the Earth. And it was
1 mile to 2 miles
below the surface of the Earth. Yes.
I just watched this documentary last night about how Russia dug basically a hole. They got, I think, 7.1 miles deep.
Yeah.
And then they couldn't go anymore. Nobody else has done it. They said that the Earth, I can't remember if it was every mile or every kilometer, the Earth, it gets 60 degrees hotter.
Yeah. Probably.
It'll be like 120 degrees.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what happened, and then the audience can draw their own conclusions. But during World War II, do you remember what one of the primary problems for Hitler was? One of the major reasons why the Nazis lost that war was because we were bombing the bejesus out of them.
Yeah.
I mean, the bombing of Dresden. We weren't just bombing, military and industrial targets. We bombed cities, right? We firebombed cities. And the purpose behind this campaign, this bombing campaign, was to decimate Hitler's industrial base, for one thing, so that he couldn't build weapons fast enough, and so we were hitting the airfields, we were hitting the industrial plants, and a lot of these industrial plants were located in the cities. So Hitler decided, and he did it too late, he decided that he was going to move his manufacturing to subterranean facilities. I mean, this is logical, right? Now, that's an enormous undertaking to do that. You can't just move manufacturing underground on a whim. That's an enormous project, but he began to do it. And there was an organization called the Todt Organization that was in charge of building these underground facilities. And by the end of World War II, there were underground facilities. Now, they weren't 1 mile under the ground, but they were pretty deep. And they were using, in some instances, slave labor to do it.
This is the emergency exit here.
So another door that's quite thick. Let me take a look in there. So there's 3 flights of stairs here.
Pretty much like the other staircase up here.
Yeah.
You got everything from beans, eggs, to beef, milk, chicken, bread, you name it. Onions, tons of dehydrated vegetables. Quite a bit.
So he's throwing the pallet of food in there. That's worth some money. It's about $30 a can right there. Wow. So is that the current electrical panel?
No, I'll show you here. That's the, I think I might have some stuff that's a bit of this actually. Not a lot. No, this one, I think, no, we're not using this one, I'm sorry. No, there's all everything's over here. This is the main power in.
So does this bunker have heating or air conditioning?
So it's got heating in all of the outside, the upstairs, all the living space, and then the workshops are not. So all this area down here, the gym, the office there, and the music studio, and all this area, this all has heat. It doesn't really get below. I mean, this is about as cold as it gets. It's about 55 right now. I think it's about as cold as it possibly gets down here. In the summer, we've never had it over 72, 73 degrees in here.
It really gets up to 72 here in the summer?
Yeah, we're also, blowing glass down here, so we're pulling in some air, so we're kind of causing.
I'm surprised it gets that warm.
It gets hot in Kansas City.
Does it?
Yeah, we get pretty warm summers.
Well, it's a beautiful bunker. Now, of all the AT&T bunkers I've been in, this rate's by far the nicest one I've been in. The amount of work that needs to be done here is relatively minimal. Now, that's your heater right there? So I feel it's blowing heat right now. And the power sources, you're onto the grid only, right?
Right now, yeah.
So you're not off grid here?
Not at the moment, no, but it could easily be converted over. 2008?
So it's got a modern heater in it right now.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with that. Now that's a little Murphy door. Opens up to a secret compartment.
Yeah, the storage back there.
All right, so you got a little secret room back here. Can't really see into it. It's not very big.
Not really big. Storage.
So this bunker in the winter, he says 55 is the low in here. 52 is the low when you get up to Minnesota. So 55 is comfortable. And then he mentioned that in the summer it doesn't get hotter than 72 in here. And that would be because he's blowing glass. But 72 is actually high for a underground bunker like this.
The old utility room here, or washroom it is.
So there's a lot of little extra rooms in this bunker.
Little exchange here. Yeah, I actually have one problem that I have to fix well.
So if somebody wanted to break into your bunker, even if they got through the door above, they would have to get through a 3-inch thick steel door, which they're not going to. Even the hinges on this thing are protected with a hasp that comes over the pivot point. Even if they were to torch it, the pins on the inside wouldn't let the door to be opened. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. So that will come all the way down to the bottom, and you can just roll that right on in. And that looks like the original cart, too. There's even a little catwalk that goes all the way around this. You see that? The crane still works. Hello, world. Are you full of radiation? Everything was so well made. Even the steps, they even have nosings on the steps so you don't skid. See these right here? Those are inserts called stair nosings. But boy, we try to make them like they did back in the 60s here at Atlas.
These are all opened up and for vent air in as well, air intake in. And so they still, I mean, it still breathes pretty good. And we still bring in air through here as well.
So people always talk about how you could block the air pipes, but for the air in, there's two of these giant windows on here. So the air is going to pass through those vents right there, and you're just not going to cover those up really easy. The air comes in through those vents right there. It goes down the chute. There's air intakes right there as well from the auxiliary air pipes, and then it goes through the other side over here. So basically, this is a tamper-proof bunker right here as well. But back in the 60s, people weren't really worried about other Americans trying to break into their bunker. They were just worried about the effects of a nuclear bomb from the Soviet Union. Nowadays, people worry about the zombies getting to them. Tell me about the water tank.
So there's a 10,000-gallon stainless steel water tank buried. That's fed from the well. The well feeds into that pump, and we pump from the stainless steel tank into the property.
How many gallons per minute is the well generating? You don't know?
Yeah,
But it's plenty.
It takes us about 5 hours to fill 10,000 gallons, so I'd say. Yeah.
Okay, so 2,000 gallons an hour.
Like that.
Yeah, that's more than enough. Can you lift that?
Yep.
So that's a 1-inch thick steel plate right there. Okay, all right. Yeah, cast iron. So there's your meter right there. That's good to know. See those trees right there? So you don't even know, once the trees grow back, you hardly see anything on these bunkers. Now this one has an old tower. The tower's not working, but if somebody wanted to, they could run up their, they could run their cable still up there. That's why that's 200-foot tower. So there's the well.
19 feet from right here.
Well,
And as you see, I had to find where it was at. I had to dig it up.
where is it?
Well, it's 19 feet straight ahead.
Oh, okay. It's not too obvious, is it? Because I can't see it.
No, it's buried. It's about 6 feet down.
Oh, okay.
So I had to get in there to get the pump. This is the emergency hatch. It just opens from the inside.
Okay, so this is not connected to the bunker. This can be removed. So when you're done, all you have on the outside, you have this. These are a couple inlets right here. They're being covered up right now. You got the emergency staircase over there. You got the detection device, and you got this 200-foot tower right here. Of course, the little concrete building that has the crane in it with the dolly that lowers down. Now there's a shipping container sitting out here, but they're very inconspicuous looking buildings. If you were to tell somebody that there was a bomb shelter here, they may not believe you. Over here, so over here is a couple of your air pipes. Now, this air pipes were hot dip galvanized, and even though it's over 60 years old, the air pipes are still good. This is why at Atlas Survival Shelters, I still hot dip galvanize all my air pipes. You know what? You want these bunkers to last for 100+ years, and this one will definitely last another 60 years, that's for sure. Even this handrail that was put on here was galvanized, and you can tell it's still in good shape. Yeah, galvanizing is the way to go. But there's 10.5 acres of property that comes with this AT&T bunker. And of course, over here is your emergency staircase with a couple lids that lock from the inside. The well's over there, 19 feet built beyond that fence. You got the blast detector over there, and of course a 200-foot tower. But this is the bunker. That's all there is to it. The closest town is about 2 miles away, and it's probably about 300-400 people. If you want to call it a town, it has one little convenience store. That's about it. And the closest big city is Kansas City, which is over an hour away.
You have seen the news that billionaires are building bunkers. And the thing is, most of us don't have $10 million for a bunker, but what we do have is resourcefulness. I'm going to show you how to build your own bunker at home for only $25 and at a place that you probably recognize. This place, Walmart. Let's go shopping. The first thing that has to happen with your own DIY bunker is one room to be the bunker. So make it the bathroom, maybe make it your bedroom, a small space where you're able to contain the air as much as you can. I know it sounds crazy to think about this, but I'd rather you be prepared so that you're calm to deal with the chaos. You need to put something over windows, and you could get a clear tarp like this. To be economical, we're going to go with the blue tarp for $7. Next up is actually duct tape. Everything good starts with duct tape, right? We're going to get the cheapest roll of duct tape that I can find, And it looks like it's going to be this. And the final thing that I can get in budget at Walmart is actually an N95 mask, which is great. But I'm going to show you how you can use tools that you have at home to create a little bit more of a safe environment if any kind of event occurs. The next thing I want you to do is take a towel that you have at home, soak it in water, and put it along the edges of the door frame. This is a great way to keep toxic elements out of your DIY bunker. Hopefully you already have flashlights or headlamps on hand. Also just found a cheaper option than the blue tarp. It is actually this shower liner, which will work perfectly. So I'm going to swap out the blue tarp for a shower liner. So that gives me a little bit more money to play with in this challenge. This is $4. This is $14. This is coming in at $6. Sure that in your DIY bunker that you have got plenty of candles and that you also have a lighter. Let me run through the steps one more time with you. The first thing that you need to do is choose one room to be your bunker. The second thing that you need to do is you need to seal the windows. Third step, you need to seal with a wet towel the door. So what you have done is you have built your own DIY bunker, also known as a shelter-in-place location, until you get clarity that it's safe to go back outside. If you are interested in learning how to prepare so that you can stay calm through these chaotic times, then go ahead and comment bunker, where I will give you a free list of resources to help you prepare for anything that might happen.
The greatest existential threat we have is, and there doesn't seem to be any way back from that.
Several billionaires actually have bunkers in New Zealand.
No.
Oh, yeah.
They will remain nameless, but they were
Name them.
I will not name them. I will not name my sources. But what was interesting to me, it was that the response to realizing the world could end in 72 minutes wasn't, let's all get together and make sure nuclear war doesn't happen. But it was more about, how fast can I get my G5 loaded so I can get to New Zealand? Because a private aircraft can take you from Los Angeles to New Zealand without refueling. Nuclear war cannot be won and must never be fought.
It appears to me that the greatest existential threat we have is ourselves in this regard, and these weapons that can wipe out this planet in a couple of minutes are clearly the greatest existential threat, and there doesn't seem to be any way back from that.
Which is a great opportunity to realize, this is the pathway of more wars is not the only way.
Billionaires built bunkers so they knew this was going to happen. Like Mark Zuckerberg's compound in Hawaii, on Lanai. You don't need to build a bunker if you are making the world a better place. Like, you're all sitting there at Trump's inauguration, Zuckerberg, Bezos, which means you clearly have the power and control. So don't look at me with a shocked Pikachu face when you are not helping us get universal health care, are not giving anyone a living wage, are laying people off, are building data centers that are poisoning the air and the water. But then it's such a psychotic shock because they're having this realization that, oh my God, yeah, I guess if I'm in a bunker, I guess I'm alone. If I'm in a bunker, I guess I have to have staff that I then have to control. That's why they're trying to automate everything. Because what the rich do is they build circles of protection. So the billionaires only hang out with the billionaires. Then the least wealthy billionaires surround themselves with the highest up millionaires. Like, hide away. Hide away. Sam Altman, no one wants to see you at the San Francisco gay bars. Mark Zuckerberg, no one wants to see your disgusting application of suntan lotion in Hawaii. Making billionaires pariahs, outcasts of society, is literally the least thing that society can do. When I was 14 and a half, I got my first job working at the local movie theater, $4.50 an hour. I know, I'm old. And then 3 months later, I think I got bumped to $5 an hour. And then maybe 6 months after that, I got bumped up to $5.50. And $5.50, I made about $100 a week part-time, and then all the free movies and popcorn that I could watch and eat. And that $100, like, the world was my oyster. I was able to save up for 3 years and then help pay for a car. And that just doesn't exist anymore for young people. I don't know, it's giving Jasmine Sullivan, let it burn.
I can't say go to bed, Amy, if it's like noon when she messages me these crazy stuff, but she sent me one that was like, billionaires are building underground bunkers for the end of the world.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, there's the bunkers, but then there's some like legit bunker
like towns.
Retreat. Like in Switzerland, it's like, I haven't fact checked this, but required
Oh God, yeah.
to have like a bunker for everybody. I'm like, how thoughtful
The country does?
Yeah, like
It's like,
and we're all allowed?
It's like a car seat when you leave the hospital. You got to have that.
Yes. Yeah,
yeah.
Every family has to have a bunker in their backyard where they don't.
it's like there's like bunker communities, and like there's a little room or locker for everybody.
I have fact checked you.
Oh.
So Switzerland has enough nuclear bunkers and fallout shelters to accommodate its entire population. The unique system stemming from Cold War era laws mandates that every resident has a protected space and a shelter. You're right.
See? And I was like, wow.
I'm starting to think the internet's always right.
Well, no.
Oh, no.
No. You can't. That's why I even prefaced it with like, okay, before I say this, I haven't fact checked it, but I do think what I was watching seemed to be a credible source. But yeah, you never know these days. But it was basically saying that Switzerland's like, not only are they the most neutral in the world, they're the safest.
There's a nihilist vein running through big tech where a lot of them have go bags. They have a plan for if shit gets real, if there's a zombie apocalypse or there's a revolution or there's a massive pandemic, they have definitive plans and they've spent tens of millions of dollars. They meet their pilots at Oakland Airport. They get on their Gulfstream 650. They fly to New Zealand, to Auckland, and they have a bunker built out.
Is this true?
Oh, there's a lot of them.
Really?
There's a lot of go plans amongst the wealthy. And sometimes it's not as dramatic. Sometimes it's just a home nuclear attack, cyber attack, revolution. But I would say amongst billionaires, I would bet conservatively 1 in 3 have some sort of go plan. And that's nihilist. And also, to a certain extent, I think wanting to be an interplanetary species is a little bit nihilist.
Also, if they're saying that in the future, people aren't going to have jobs and there's robotics and there's this AGI, this super intelligence, which is going to be smarter than everybody. And even if there was a 1% chance that these doomer predictions around AI could come true, I would stop. A 1% chance of humanity sort of self-imploding or destroying itself. Wouldn't a rational person stop?
Well, okay, you're Oppenheimer. It's going to take 3 million American deaths to invade Japan. Japan will not surrender. And you're in charge of splitting the atom. There was much more than a 1% chance that our ability to split the atom and then show we would use it against a civilian population would result in the end of the world, should he have stopped development of it. So a lot of scientists, nuclear scientists, killed themselves. They committed suicide because they were convinced once we'd split the atom and use it against civilians, it was the end of the world. It was just a matter of time before we were all using nuclear devices. So I think you keep moving forward. Nihilism, where nihilism impacts these people, let me go back to the go bag. I talked to one of these people. He outlined his plan for me, right?
He's a billionaire.
Yeah, outlined his plan B, if things get really ugly, right? And my view was, okay, boss, let's play this out. Something happens. There's an event. It's too dangerous to stay here. You meet your pilots at the airport. I mean, shit really gets real. People scaring for food. People become feral. I mean, you don't think your pilots are going to kill you and fuck your wife? Like, what do you think's going to happen? You don't think the people in New Zealand are going to be like, let's go take the rich guy's shit? Like, it strikes me that these are such misallocated efforts and capital that if you're really focused on your own future, whether you're wealthy or not wealthy, that your resources and your talent should be allocated towards trying to make this place a little bit more habitable.
My ex-husband is employed by one of the billionaires to oversee his underground bunker in his operations. And my ex-husband, was given 2 slots in this underground bunker for when shit hits the fan. And he asked me, and I said, fuck no. That's what we're facing. People who have the wherewithal to design something when society collapses. So what are we supposed to do? Well, Janet and I are preppers, and I recommend that you prep. And instead of going out for coffee, put your money towards that. Canned goods, ready-to-eat meals, fill containers with water, and yeah, it is what it is.
Somebody keeps buying like a big chunk of Hawaii. Who is that? When New Zealand is another one.
Oh,
Zuckerberg has an underground thing somewhere on one of those islands.
Underground?
Well, it's above
yes,
and
him.
under.
It's him.
Yeah,
Zuckerberg, yeah.
Yeah, I know him pretty well. Zuck
You
likes
know him?
property. You know.
They all,
It sounded
all
good
these
when it
rich
came
guys,
out.
they have doomsday bunkers, which makes me nervous.
They have planes
Who
at the
does?
ready.
The rich guys.
The billionaires have G7s at the ready. If the shit hits the fan, they have underground bunkers built in New Zealand, and they can go get right to it to bring the name,
By
the
the way,
kids, everybody. Go right.
If the world blows up and it's like The Walking Dead, do we really want? I'd rather just kind of go with it. I don't want to be eating Dinty Moore beef stew and you can't open the lid.
Dinty Moore.
You're under there for 2 years going. You can't go to the Grove. You can't do anything. It's like,
It's Dinty Moore.
What do you
still
do?
exists, David.
I doubt it.
No, if there's a nuclear attack, I want to be at ground zero.
Yeah.
I want the thing to hit me right in the head. You're right. You do not want to be part of the cleanup committee.
Because if you make it, what are you doing? What's
Just
your
our
life?
hair.
Yeah.
I mean, we're hanging on pretty well.
Yeah.
They wanted to know where to put their bunkers in case of what they called the event, the electromagnetic pulse or revolution, climate event or pandemic that makes the world unlivable and forces them to go somewhere else. And that was, I tried to play with them at that point because they're just crazy wealthy guys.
Yeah.
And I was like, so how are you going to protect your bunker from the rest of us? And like, oh, we got Navy SEALs, on speed dial. They're going to come out and, like, okay, then how are you going to pay your Navy SEALs once your Bitcoin's not worth anything because the world's in? So they've like thought it out, like Walking Dead level scenario planning, but they haven't really looked at how do you stay alive, and you can't, not for very long like that.
Yeah.
But so then that's what set me on the journey to figure out how did the wealthiest, most powerful people in the world convince themselves that they're utterly incapable of sustaining our world, that the best they can do is prepare for the inevitable collapse of civilization and try to survive in some kind of a feudal bunker.
These billionaires have their bunkers. I was just in New Zealand, and that's the place where they've all decided to build their bunkers. And I actually learned for the first time why they all chose New Zealand. It's because there was an analysis of where if nuclear bombs detonate, like the probability of where they would detonate. When you look at the map of the blast radius, New Zealand is almost always outside of that blast radius. So that's why they're building their bunkers there. Like that, they will be fine. However the world ends, they're going to exist outside of that. And that's why they can exist in this space where they neither have any kind of moral responsibility for actually ushering in a better world, and nor do they have any ramifications for not taking on that responsibility.
It's this strange, as I say, learned helplessness, which seems to define the ruling class of our age, which is so strange because on the one hand, they have this Promethean rhetoric about master of the universe, we're going to change everything. But fundamentally, actually, they think we can't really change anything and we're victims of circumstance. All of us are victims of circumstance. What do you think explains that strange juxtaposition?
I think that they have to tell themselves this story in order to be okay with not taking the burden of responsibility to actually make the world better. If they don't acknowledge their own agency in creating these problems and therefore the burden of responsibility to fix these problems, and they instead situate themselves in the broad sweep of history, marching forward without them and without all of us apparently participating in it, then they get away with it. They can get away, and they can hold that position because they are the ones that will be okay if nothing is done about it.
This is crazy. A former Bush official claims that the United States spent $21 trillion building a secret underground city. Her name is Catherine Austin Fitts, and she formerly served as Bush's Assistant Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. He says that the United States government built this in secret in case of a near extinction event for the rich and powerful. She claims that this isn't just some underground tunnel, but that this is a massive underground city across the United States with over 170 bases. She even says some are under the ocean and that they are all connected with transportation. She started researching this in 2020 and says that on her website, missingmoney.com, you can go and look at the actual government financials and make a decision whether or not this is true for yourself. Now, there have been theories about this for decades. So are we finally getting the proof? As always, let me know what you think about all of this.